I've got a suspicion this will be a rather geeky episode. Thank you for coming in. We've been planning this a wee while, eh? But
I feel like it's been quite a few months.
Aye. So I'm glad that you've come in. When did you pass your test? How long ago has it been?
I think it was 2018. November 2018, off the top of my head.
Right.
So I think it's been like 6 years. 6, 7.
Wow.
Yeah, coming up for 7.
I'm always amazed at how time passes.
Yeah.
You know, every time I have someone in here, it's like, wow, it's been that long.
Because you were doing it for 10 years when I passed.
Yeah, 2010. 2010 I started.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, 15 years now.
Yeah, been a while. Now, I remember to this day when I got your phone call, and it was the first time I had a call saying, I want electric car lessons.
Yeah.
I've had it since.
Good.
Not many, to be fair, but I have had it since that specify electric. Why did you want to go down that road as opposed to just maybe automatic lessons in a petrol or a diesel car?
I mean, personally, that's where my interest was. I think, openly, why wouldn't I?
When and why? I'm guessing, because I've met your dad.
Yeah.
I've met a fair bit of your family.
Yes.
Was it your dad that sort of, your mum and dad that got you into, or was it?
We went to a motor show at Ingliston, where they got a little racetrack just outside the airport, and a P90D around track teleporting corner to corner will definitely convince you.
The Tesla P90D.
P90D Model S, that convinces you that's what you want to do.
So did you get a shot?
No.
No. You just seen it?
Sat in it.
Right.
Was a passenger. But yeah, ever since then, no brainer.
And so how long before you started learning was that?
I'm going to say a year or 2 years.
So even at that point you thought,
Could have been 2.
so you phoned me, he says, I want to learn to drive in an electric car.
Yep.
I says, okay, I've got an electric car. And I remember you said something like, where are you based? Or where are you? Or do you
Yes.
cover this area or something?
Yes.
And I said, well, I stay in Rosyth.
Yeah.
And you were almost sort of a bit shocked, like, oh.
Because there was only one other person I found in the country, and it was like Manchester.
Right.
Yeah.
And here's me on your doorstep.
Yeah.
Tell me, what do you remember then about your first lesson?
I think we probably spent more time geeking out,
Right.
like we're probably going to do right now.
Yeah.
We did learning, but yeah, I mean, that kind of probably, I think to learn something really effectively, you need to have a passion for it. And that probably really helped. I know we went down to the dockyard, really just focused on like roundabouts and everything. But yeah, just remember kind of first time driving a car at more than 10 miles per hour. I think that Evolution Motor Show let you have first gear only drives in a See It Me or something.
Well, that answers one of my later questions, which I was going to ask you, which was, you learn to drive in an electric car, mine. I know the answer to this, but for our audience, what was the very first car that you bought after you passed?
Stanley.
The same car. And I know what you're driving now, because we've just been out in it.
Yes.
For quite an impressive little drive there. So the question I was going to ask is, have you ever driven a petrol or a diesel car?
It was only that one, that See It Me, in first gear at 5-10 miles per hour. That's it. I almost wish I never.
It would have been quite cool to sort of state, I've only ever driven electric cars.
Yeah.
And you never will drive anything
You
else.
could argue, between that experience and all the EVs I've driven, I've only ever driven cars in first gear.
Okay, so that's all right, yeah. So you've never been out of first gear.
Yeah, I've never been out of first gear. You got top gear, you got fifth gear, I'm first gear.
First gear. So, your family, let me think, who have I taught? I taught your sister, Josh is your sister's boyfriend,
Husband.
fiance. Oh, they're married now.
Yeah.
Of course they are, that's right.
Yeah.
And your
Teaching
wife,
my wife.
Amy. everyone electric.
Yeah.
And are they the same in the sense that they wanted electric? Because I mean, a lot of people that come to me ask for automatic, and they just by proxy get electric. But were they all just specifically wanting electric as well?
I think so. Plus, they were kind of going on the back end that, like, I would rave about you. Like,
Word of mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in your kind of business, it probably travels really far.
Mm-hmm. The electric car doesn't...
Not that, the word of mouth.
Right, as an instructor.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I remember is you did not need many lessons.
No.
I mean, the average, this is an average from the DVSA. That's somewhere
50 hours?
between 50 and 70 when you factor in...
For a manual. And I think it's 10 hours left or so for an auto.
Yeah. And can you remember how many lessons you had?
I'm sure have you got the answer?
Not here, but on the spreadsheet at some...
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I could
remember
check.
that, but I am sure it was something like we were 10 to 12 hours of just regular lessons, but then it was, obviously we had a couple of mock tests on top.
Less than 20 overall, you think?
Oh, easy. Comfortably under, I would say.
That is really... I'm not going to say unheard of, but very rare. You know.
But I think that's then the combination of passion for it and great teacher.
It was a good team, eh?
Yeah.
Right, thinking back to your driving test, the day of the test.
Awful.
How did you feel going into it?
Awful.
Why?
I'm not sure how much you ever knew about this, but totally like, that was the worst morning ever.
As in before I picked you up?
Yes. Because just like, it just got to my head. The pressure of it. For context, I bought a car 2 days beforehand. But while I signed all the agreements, obviously it's not very good if I then don't pass. And it put unnecessary pressure on it. And I've since learned that it's just totally unnecessary because you're just not helping yourself if you put a pressure on yourself like that. So I've been kind of giving Amy that kind of advice. Like, really just doesn't matter. You just do your best.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really got myself kind of worked up. It was fine as soon as I kind of got going, but yeah, beforehand was not fun.
Really human, eh? I mean, it's rare that we find someone who, on the build up to the test, certainly the day of the test, it's rare that they don't feel nervous. In fact, if you ever come across someone who, when you ask them how they're feeling and they're like, fine,
I'd be a bit more worried.
yeah. And I'm like, yeah, you should maybe be a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe not worried, but are you dead inside?
Yeah. I remember an exam at school where it was like a 90-minute exam, and we all came out, and I asked, how'd you find it? And he says, I found that pretty easy. I was done in like 20 minutes. And I was like, okay, we know what's going to happen next. Because it's not supposed to be that easy.
Well...
And that's, you know where that one went.
When I was 17, which was 900 years ago, I was at 6th year and I was studying for my theory test, and I wanted it so bad. Like, I was desperate to pass and get a car. So I really geeked out on the studying.
Yeah.
I remember having it wasn't a spreadsheet, but it was a paper version of on this day, study for this, 20 minutes.
Proper planning.
Yeah. And I stuck to that. And I remember my dad came and picked me up for school in a free period or whatever, took me for the theory test. And I can't remember if it was an hour you got, but I was done and dusted easily within about 10 minutes, maybe 10, 11 minutes. And that's because as soon as the questions started sort of appearing, I was like, and not only do I know the answer, I know all the questions that's going to the multiple choice.
But did you still feel anxious?
Yeah,
that's the
thinking,
difference.
This can't be that easy.
Yeah,
and I don't know if I had maybe flagged. I spent a few minutes, I think, maybe going back and checking them, but I was done. Back then, you only got 35 questions. I think it's 50 now.
It's 50, yeah.
And there was no hazard perception, but it was just the questions.
Yes.
So I was in and out really quickly, and I got full marks So studying paid off. That's the moral of that story.
Studying pays off, but I think that there's something wrong if you go in without any like anxiety,
Like too cocky.
reservation. Yeah, I don't think that doesn't often pay off well.
Although I don't think I've actually spoke about this before on here. Have you heard of the thing that's what they call the Mandela effect,
Yes,
where your memories are a bit different from
reality,
right?
Yeah,
Or maybe other people's version of things.
yeah.
I have one of those with a theory test. So my dad picked me up at high school.
Yeah.
Took me to Dunfermline. Do you know George Street?
Mm-hmm.
Where we've done practice, you
Yeah.
know. I remember getting dropped off. I remember going upstairs, going in, doing my test, passing it, coming back out. Skip forward to the current day, right? And I'm speaking to another driving instructor
Mm-hmm.
about where the theory test centre used to be, because there used to be one in Dunfermline in that industrial estate, the Petrivi industrial
Yes.
estate. But that isn't where I obviously a long time ago. And this instructor, who had been in this job for longer than probably I've been alive, he was like, theory test centre's never been there. And I was like, it
That's
has.
a lie.
It was. And I went there,
Yeah.
right? Skip forward. So we had agreed to disagree, right?
Yeah.
Skip forward, speaking to other instructors about the same thing, and they all agreed with the other guy and says it's never been there.
That's interesting.
And I have vivid memories of being there. Don't know. To this day, I can't explain it.
I mean, have you searched?
No. No.
Yeah.
I've not looked into it.
I would.
There's part of me that doesn't really want to know this answer, because what if it's never been there?
Obviously, if you never pass your theory test.
What if I'm not a real instructor?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a wee bit of a mystery, that. And I'm sure my dad had watched this episode. Hi, Dad, if you're watching. I'm sure if I says to him, do you remember taking me there? I'm sure he would say no. As in, it was that long ago. And
Yeah.
so I will probably at one point Google that.
Yeah. I'm intrigued.
But what if it turns out I'm right and they're all wrong?
I mean, maybe because they've worked there for so long, it's just kind of. Whereas for you, that was one very specific, memorable point in your life. For them, it's just day to day. So.
Yeah.
But for them all to agree, that's very weird.
Yeah. Very, very strange. Right, thinking back to the test. What you passed first time.
Yep.
Minors? Can you remember much?
I think one minor.
Now, was that for the speed bump? It was.
Yeah.
I don't know why that just came to my mind.
Because I tell people to this day that story. It's so memorable to me.
And I know the road it was on.
Yes.
The back road, wasn't it?
Yeah, going from Dunfermline, where the Abbey is, down to Rosyth, where Stevens is. And there's a speed bump, but there was just no paint on it. And it looks like there's traffic calming of having the curbs come in. So
it narrows a bit, yeah.
Yeah, maybe a bit of slowing down for as you go if there's a car coming. But visually, the speed bump just never jumped out, because we all know how roads are maintained.
Yeah.
And it's so funny, this. The examiner, he had his board, and he went like that. He lunged all forward. In my head, I just thought, "What there, mate? It wasn't that bad." Obviously, I'm the one with the steering wheel holding myself. I mean, I maybe went over it at 20 rather than, like your 10 to 15. But it was enough. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. How did you feel then when... Did you think at that point that was enough for them to fail you, or were you confident that it would never be a fail?
I didn't... I somehow convinced myself at the start that I already done something wrong. That headspace I was in. And that actually allowed me to then be very calm and neutral for the rest of it.
Do you know what?
Taking the pressure away.
That's a smart move, I think, because a lot of times people tell me that they either they did do something wrong at the beginning and they know they did, and then the pressure's off and it turns out the rest of the drive was pretty good.
Yeah.
Or they think they've done something wrong and the rest of the drive was pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe there's a bit of science in that, or
Yeah. One thing that's really interesting from like a human psychology side is just that permission to fail as well. Like,
I like that.
yeah, I mean, we put these pressures on ourselves to always succeed, but sometimes we should allow ourselves to fail and grow from that. Like, is it even the biggest? Is the world end? Does the world end if you fail?
I do like that, actually. I don't know if you will be aware with Amy going through this. It's very difficult to get a test now.
That's the disadvantage. Is you fail, it could be like 6 months before you pass again. And for people who don't have a car and say going through you for lessons in your own car, that's a big expense because you need to keep up that experience. And they could have probably failed for something random. Like, that's the other thing in the test is it's not a controlled testing environment. It's the real world. Anything can happen, and it's something that nobody else could then ever experience in their lifetime.
Yeah.
There's always a problem. I don't think the best driver has a guaranteed chance of passing because of external factors. I think that there's always a risk. It's never 100% guaranteed. And the issue right now is the fact that it takes you so long to then rebook. Amy has the benefit that she's got her own car. She'll still be driving, whether she obviously passes. She will pass, trust me, I'm very confident. But she has the car, the pressure isn't there. The difference is I have to sit and she's got L plates on versus she can go without me.
Yep.
And that again pulls the pressure off that a little bit.
Yeah, so it's not life-changing in a massive way.
Yeah, but for some people I respect that probably it could feel like that. Like there's that expense for another 6 months. You need to keep that experience up, otherwise you will degrade.
Yeah, get a bit rusty if you're not driving now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like what you said, though. I like that. What was it?
Permission
How did
to
you word
fail.
it? Permission to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think people do put too much pressure on themselves. Yeah.
And I say that and I'm like just as bad. Like,
I might use that,
yeah.
in my lessons. But I'll just tell them that I came
That's
up
the
with
way you learn. Yeah, just do that.
I've just thought of this new thing.
That'll be the bit that gets cut from the recording.
Yeah, I've just thought of this new thing. Right, how did it feel then when the examiner said, pleased to tell you you've passed?
Obviously, I thought at the start, I'd done something wrong where because it never came up. So I wasn't expecting that. I was already
A bit of a shock.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's surprising. And then I had the fun ride home where I get to be in the passenger seat.
I never had any doubts with you.
Yeah.
You were, now and again, you come across, and I don't know how to word it, natural learners who just pick things up easy. I mean, I've said this before. I learned a lot from teaching you to drive, mainly about electric cars. You would teach me things I didn't know about electric cars. Your knowledge of electric cars astounds me. It does.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, how do you know so much? Do you research it a lot? Do you find yourself like, is that almost like a hobby of reading up on the latest things? And
Yeah, but I think we're all a sponge to the things we're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take, like, you sit down and you try and learn something about something you don't like, that's going to take a long time.
Yep.
But yeah, like I love it. And at the end of the day, I don't think it's uncommon to say that there's car people out there. But I still think, obviously, there's probably a lot less EV people out there, really passionate about it. But like, I could tell you intricacies that I've asked then car dealerships where people, a car dealership, they'll give the car salespeople the cars so they know them inside out. And I'll ask them a question, they still will not have a clue.
Yeah.
Like, I'll ask them like if they've got a clutch disconnect strategy for a dual motor setup, and they're just like, whoosh.
Right. Here's a question that I've been looking forward to asking you. How would you sell the idea of someone moving to an electric car who maybe has doubts? They've got doubts of, a bit of range anxiety. They're worried about, batteries failing. You'll have heard it all, right?
Yeah.
How do you even try anymore to convince people that it's the right thing to do, or I mean, I think I used to, and now I'm just like, well, if you don't fancy it, don't do it.
Which I think is the right thing. I think that's a behavioral science, a human psychology. When you push someone too much, they often do the opposite. And it should be a free market. People should be allowed to buy what they wish and go down the path they wish. And it's funny because when you think about an EV itself, like the car sells itself. As soon as someone drives it, they get it.
There's no two ways about it.
Yeah. One, obviously, you just let them have 5 minutes. Or you take them for a 5-minute spin. That sells the car itself. But I think something really interesting, I saw this from a marketer that I watch, who does a lot of human psychology stuff. I can't remember his name, but he made this really funny joke, which is instead of trying to sell an EV, try and pretend that EVs have been the norm for the past 100 years and a new combustion cars came out and try and sell that. Right? So you give them this car, and I'm really sorry, but it shakes violently. You have to have multiple gears to get anywhere. You've only got like a smidge where you're in the optimal rev range for maximum power. Otherwise, you're not getting that quoted figure. And yeah, you can fill it up, but you can't fill it up at home. You have to pay a lot of money for this fuel.
I like that.
And you've got this, instead of this one moving part, you've got hundreds of moving parts in the front that all have their own failures and compromises.
Instead of one pedal,
you've got 3.
You've got 3.
Yeah.
It's noisy.
That's
a brilliant way of this.
And would anyone buy that? If the world was different, would anyone want that?
What a great answer.
Yeah. And I'll tell you one more. There's this concept of a local maxima or a local optima rule. And it's like, without thinking about it, we as consumers or we as people, we have these rules in place. We don't think about it, but they're kind of just in the back of our heads. Oh, I need enough range to last me a week. I need enough range to last me a month. And the question is why? And it's if you dig into that, you can then actually start to disprove it. But the issue is we're not even aware of these rules and what's holding us back from them. People want 600 miles of range because they don't want to be navigating to a petrol station that is always a detour on their trip. They don't want to be doing that. But if you have the ability to fill up at home, it takes 2 seconds once you've got into the drive. What's wrong with, instead of thinking about it as weeks or months worth of range, you only need a day.
Yeah, I mean, I seen this somewhere when someone was asked, how long does it take you to charge it? And they're like, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Just plug in.
Yes, because you're not standing waiting.
Yeah.
You're not having to do that detour. So instead of needing 600 miles to last you the week, you've got 200 to 300 miles per day to play with. So that could be 1,400 to 2,000 miles a week worth of range. And yeah, you got the exception. It's a totally valid rule of, whoops, if I'm going somewhere long. But because you have to sometimes pick up your family from the airport, does that mean you buy a 9-seater taxi? No. You buy the car for the majority of the time.
That makes total sense, yeah. I think people are scared in the... range anxiety seems to be the big thing that people
I think it's
always ask
pivoted
me.
Lately. The past couple of years, I think it's pivoted not to be range anxiety, but to be charger anxiety.
Well,
Public charger anxiety.
I had someone in here yesterday or the day before who has an electric car. They've learned with me in the Nissan, and they've got a Skoda Enyaq. But they don't have the ability to charge from the house.
Yeah.
I think it's like a flat and they don't have access.
No dedicated space, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's hard.
So they do have to rely on the public network.
Yeah.
And I sometimes find myself saying to people, I wouldn't be so keen to rely on the public, especially with the amount of times I need to charge.
Yeah.
But if you only needed to charge, a couple of times a month, 2 or 3 times a month,
yeah,
fine. So I think that is, for me, the one downside if you don't have that ability to charge from home.
Yeah. I'd done it for 7 months.
Relied on
when we were in a rental. And it is fine, But if I was going into that and that was my first experience, it probably would be my last.
Yeah.
But as a stopgap, it's fine. I think when you know you're not going to be moving on and then having the ability, it's not the best. But I think the issue is a petrol station's lit up miles away. You can see it like a Christmas tree. EV chargers are everywhere, but they don't jump out the same. So people are probably not so aware of how many there are so nearby.
Yeah. That's a good point.
But that doesn't mitigate that inconvenience, right? But when you've got chargers that are at shops or a car park that's 2 minutes away from your home, it lessens that kind of complexity.
And do you find that you have this conversation with people a lot, as in, because I find that people, when they find out that you have an EV, they're curious. They want to learn, and it would be the same questions I was asking when I was curious about getting one. So I understand that people are, a mixture of curious and hesitant.
Yes. So we've got this neighbour, great guy. He went into his first EV, and he went for the longer range. Two options. It's the MG ZS. You get like a 51 kilowatt hour LFP pack, or you get something like a 70 odd kilowatt hour pack. He went for the longer range one, and me and Amy's dad were both like, "You're definitely not going to need it. It's fine. It's fine." And he gets it, and it's only once he decided to go for the long range, and he had it, and he experienced it. He was like, "I really don't need that much range."
Mm-hmm. I think now, if your car can do 200 miles on a
realistic 200, I think that's the point where you just shouldn't worry.
There's no more worry.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get to a charger, or you're going to get home.
Yes.
Ready for a new day.
Yeah.
You know?
And if you're setting off with 100%, you're going somewhere, that's 4 hours of solid driving before you're having to think about pulling over.
Aye.
Realistically.
Yeah. Who in your family knows the most about electric cars? Because your dad's a knowledgeable man, isn't he?
Yeah.
He knows his stuff. Between you and him, do you ever
not being cocky, but I think
well, I know you've got different cars
yes.
at the moment. Do you ever disagree, or are you pretty much on the same page with things?
So he came with us to test drive the Volvo, and he was like, "We should be getting two."
Because I mean, he was a big Tesla lover. Is he still a Tesla lover?
I think so. I think that there's a lot to discuss, and I don't think we're the first to discuss it on brand identity and everything like that they're going through at the moment.
Yeah.
But separating the brand from the car is sound.
Mm-hmm.
He recently had to have something done to it. He had one of the connections for the 12-volt battery. When he had it changed, it was flagging errors where the voltage was a little bit off in the whole low voltage system. So that needed a bit of money spent on it, but for 5 years worth to have that much spent, like, that's a solid win. What more can you ask for?
Yeah. Is he likely to change from the Tesla to something else? I mean, I know he's always going to have an EV, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my mom wants something smaller and something slightly taller, a la EX30. But it's a hard one to kind of juggle because, like, as we were talking about just before starting the podcast, is that being happy with what you have as well. Because you can always go after the next thing. And that's, I think, how leasing companies get you. And then you realise after your 30 or 40 years worth of motoring, you've spent hundreds of thousands of pounds and you have nothing to show for it.
I haven't driven, electric cars since 2018. So 7 years now for me. Before we'd done this podcast, we just went for a drive in your Volvo EX30.
Yeah.
Wow. The thing is, I think my car's got a bit of power, right? It certainly has more power when you turn the e-pedal off.
Yes, it's to do with the throttle map. It's still giving you the same power output, but the pedal's a lot more sensitive because you're not accounting for that bit of braking power.
Yeah. It feels almost restricted in a way when the e-pedal's on.
Yeah.
Take that thing off, you feel the burst of power. But the that you just took me for a spin there. That's a feeling of,
But you get used to it.
yeah.
And the thing is it doesn't matter whether your car is 7 seconds, 6, 5, 4, or 3. You get used to it, and there's a real pleasure of enjoying what you have.
What's the figures for your car? Is it 0 to 60? And
Car and Driver tested it at 3.3. I think Motortrend might have got 3.2.
anyone watching this, can you actually imagine going from 0, not moving, to 60, almost motorway speed?
Yeah.
In less than 4 seconds?
Yes, comfortably. Less than 4.
What's Elon promising with this Roadster?
I think he's promising a lot. I think what he delivers is a bit different, but
It's less than 2 seconds?
yes. But that's the interesting thing, and I think that comes into that whole brand identity and tarnish and all that kind of stuff going on right now in the world. They always quote their figures with like 1 foot rollout subtracted and all that kind of stuff. And even then, they really try and fudge the figures. Like, for example, if you look at, say, do you know Bjorn?
Mm-hmm.
Does all the car reviews, does the banana box test, all that
Is that
kind of stuff.
Iceland or something? No.
Yeah.
Aye.
You look at his list of cars he's tested. He does 0 to 100 kilometers rather than to 60 miles per hour. And a Plaid Model S, which Tesla will sell you at 1.99 seconds, is actually 2.5. So the difference actually, then that's kind of what, I never kind of mentioned that in the car, but what I've noticed is there is a point where it is very little return on investment after your low threes. Like you're spending a lot of money to get very... I'm sure that when you're doing 100 miles per hour or more on the Autobahn, I'm sure it feels like twice as quick. But on actual roads...
I mean, I watched this thing where he had promised, he said something like 1.9 or 1.1 with a rocket pack or something, right? Can 0 to 60 in a second
Yes.
is as close as you'll get to teleportation.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, can a human withstand that?
Look, I'm sure there's a joke on around the world in 80 days where they thought that a human traveling at like 50 miles per hour, the organs would break down. The reality is we're fine and we totally overthink it. The science is the hard part. The human sitting in it has got the easy job.
I had to try to not scream in that car of yours when you were putting your foot down, because you just get thrown back. There's the other thing about it is the element of surprise, where it's not my foot making
When
it
you're
happen.
not the driver,
Yeah.
I agree.
When you know it's going to happen, you're in control. You feel
And with the steering wheel, you've got a lot more like you're part of the car.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
The passenger's a bit more free floating, so there is that
Yeah.
sort of sitting back in your chair, like,
Yeah.
holy shit, it's really fast.
Yeah,
Really fun though.
yeah. But you get used to it.
Yeah.
But it comes in useful.
Yeah, I say that to learners all the time. Power can get you out of trouble, as you know.
In the right hands, power gets you out of trouble. In the wrong hands, power gets you in trouble.
Yeah.
Firm believer of that. But like the amount of times Amy and I love watching those dash cam videos on YouTube. And the amount of times you'll see someone driving along a country road. Classic example, you got 60 national speed limit. And sometimes, the roads, while it might just be that catch-all 60 limit, you shouldn't be doing 60 on these roads. Other times you should be, and someone sat doing 30, 25 because they're not familiar. Fair enough. But the amount of times where you'll watch someone overtake and it's like a 30-second overtake, it's like, why are you just going at the same speed?
Yeah.
Whereas for me, it's 2 seconds in and out.
Aye.
And that feels safe. If I was sat and there's a car coming and there's a car coming closer and they're getting closer, that's not safe.
What I noticed in your car when you were driving there was, for as much as it felt really fun and exciting, it felt grippy. It didn't feel like unsafe.
Yes. I mean, I've driven other cars with similar performance. Volvo, I mean, to no surprise, are obviously going for the safety angle too.
Mm-hmm.
But you definitely can tell they've tuned it for kind of being glued to the road.
That is how it felt. It felt like it wasn't just going to take off
Yeah.
you know,
You'll
lose
never get
control.
like the rear end kicking out.
Mhm.
Whereas like a Model 3 Performance with similar stats is a very rear bias car, and they've tuned it to be playful. And wow, that's a great thing when you're looking at magazine with the car drifting along on a road. Do you really want that? No. That is just dangerous in my opinion. It's a desired taste maybe, but I mean, I don't think there's a place for it on public roads.
No, I don't.
You
think
want
we
a
need-
car to be predictable. You want it to be safe. They're the priorities for me.
You had said before we started this about you were planning on keeping that car a while. Hypothetically,
Yep.
when it comes time, you know, to replace it, what's your what do you think? Do you think it would be another one, or would you? Is there something else that would?
So the reasons why I want to keep it is, like, and you'll know this as well, EVs especially just depreciate like no tomorrow. So when you go up and they're giving you a peanut and a button, why not just keep it?
Yeah.
Right. First of all, is there really an actual benefit? But I've grown really attached to it as well. So even if I was to inevitably get another car, I still wouldn't be getting rid of it.
Plus, what I like about what that car does and what you were telling me it does is it gets better the longer you've had it with updates.
Yeah.
Very few cars do that.
More are getting it now, but yeah.
Makes
There-
a lot of sense to, like, a phone gets updates and can do new
Yeah.
things. You might wake up one day and all of a sudden your car does things it didn't do before.
Yeah. That said, inevitably there'll be a day where it doesn't get any more updates. It will go out of date. And that's where, even as the car is today, if it got no more updates, I would be happy.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to buy the car of today, not the car of tomorrow in that regard. Not the hope of what it will have, but what it actually has. And yeah.
I like that. Have you had people who tell you that electric cars are not the future and, for example, hydrogen is the future?
Yeah.
You get that a lot. You've had that
I
before.
get it a lot, but I mean, it's hardly an unspoken comment, you know.
How do you deal with that? What's your take on that?
I'm always intrigued to hear the last time they went out in a hydrogen car.
Yeah.
That's always really interesting.
Yeah, how did it feel when you were driving that car?
Or if you look at the stats of like hydrogen fuel stations year on year is declining drastically rather than chargers, which is obviously drastically increasing.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make sense from like a science principles first anyway. Like the energy density is beneficial, but the infrastructure costs and everything starting again from scratch. I know you could probably reuse some of the petrol stations as infrastructure, but it's when you sell someone the product of you can have really cheap electricity and you can plug in literally anywhere, it's hard to then say, oh no, actually, can we go back to this thing? The genie is out of the bottle with this one. Because they're now at like 25% of, I think, cars this year, 25% of them are EV.
Is that right? Like new cars sold?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm.
I mean, that's 1 in 4. I remember it was not that long ago when I was passed my test. I'm pretty sure it was 1 in 100.
Wow.
Now
That's
it's
1 in 4.
That's an S curve for you. That's rate of adoption.
Houses with driveways like yours and mine in the future will be worth far more than houses without, purely because people are going to want to charge from home. And if electric cars are the only option, like the government have said it could be, how do you think the incentive seems to be slacking a bit that they were offering, especially from when I got my first car, because it was £5,000
Yep.
plus a free charger at home.
Then it went down to 3.5.
Yep.
And then did it go down to 3 and then get cut, I think?
Is that what it's just now, about 3?
No, now it's 3,750 or 1,500 or nothing. And it depends on the CO2 productions of the car on what tier you get. And no car has actually got the highest band yet. And I will put my money on it and say the new Nissan Leaf is going to be the first car to get the 3,750 off.
Really?
Because if a car that's built in Sunderland in the UK doesn't get it. Nobody's getting it.
They've changed the look of that, the new one, eh? It's bigger.
Smaller.
The new Leaf is smaller.
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was.
Visually, it looks like an SUV, and
Yeah.
they'll say it's an SUV because everything's an SUV. People see that and they buy it, but it's not. I think it's a foot shorter than the current Leaf.
Wow.
It's a lot closer to the Volvo.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's an interesting car. They've still went front wheel drive, which I think is a mistake. I think that rear wheel drive is the most sensible approach for a single motor setup. You end up also just losing all that valuable space in the front for like the inverter and everything, and that's where the charger goes. But the pricing got unveiled in America. I think they've got 4 tiers in America. The cheapest one, which is a 50 odd kilowatt hour battery, they haven't announced pricing for. It's only the 75 kilowatt hour batteries, which is a chunky size.
Mm-hmm.
The cheapest one with 75 kilowatt hours, $29,000. Now, say you go convert that to 35 grand here, because that'll obviously be pre-tax, and we've got chunky tax. But then you cut off that 3,750 from the government. You're looking at either a low 30s or potentially a sub 30 grand 75 kilowatt hour car. That feels like a car that can really get Nissan back to where they need to be.
Was Nissan the first? I'm talking about the Leaf that you had first. Was yours 30 or 30 kilowatt?
24.
You had the 24.
Which was 22 kilowatt hours usable, but because it lost a bar when I got it used after 50,000 miles, realistically it was like 18.5 kilowatt hours usable. But that thing was efficient because it weighed a feather.
What was that, like 50 miles or something?
Honestly, I could get 60 on a bad day, 80 on a very good day.
Okay.
It was very light. That car, you get 5 miles per kilowatt hour.
Was it about 2010 that came out? The
11, I think.
2011.
Yeah. And I think those ones were ones that were manufactured in Japan. It was only 2012, I want to say, 2013 that we started getting the UK built ones.
Okay. I mean, they sold a lot of cars, didn't they?
Over 1 million, I think. Was it 500,000 or 1 million they sold of the Leaf in the end? Like, it was the first mass-produced affordable EV.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fair to say.
Is it true that Leaf stands for leading the way with environmentally friendly, affordable family car?
Family car. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I'd heard that.
And that's why I'm like, the new one can't be like another 40 grand car. It has to be affordable if it's still got that name.
Did I ever tell you the reason I got that electric car? It wasn't to save the planet. It wasn't because I wanted to charge from home. It wasn't because I wanted an electric car. I wanted that car before I even knew it was an electric car because my dad told me that he had seen this advert for a car that you can heat up
Remotely.
from your phone.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure when he told me this, it was like the winter, and
Yeah.
it was.
You're really feeling it.
And I'm like, what? You can sit and have a nice hot coffee in the house and just get your phone out and heat the car up. I don't even think he knew it was an electric car. He had just heard of or seen this car, and I thought, oh, I like that. Turns out it was an electric car.
Yeah.
But that's seriously why I first was intrigued.
Yeah.
And ironically, I think the Leaf's got the worst preheating system that works for about 50% of the time.
I think the bar can go lower.
Oh, really?
I think there can be worse out there.
I liked I had heard it was the Kona on the key.
Yeah, it had
You
it.
could just-
And that way, it's just straight to the car because
Yeah.
it's in close proximity. You cut the network issues.
Is it true that if I try and preheat my car, it sends 4 SMS text
Yes.
messages to Japan and back or something?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, because it's an SM, which is pretty decent because it means it's. I think the newer ones are like doing it over 4G or something, but
Like,
initially it was like text messages back and
Yeah.
forth to communicate with the car.
I just think this is what always amazes me about people. Maybe it's just me. You've got a car that you can heat up. There's no more scraping,
Yeah.
right? And I sit on my couch thinking, oh, it's taking ages to connect. Like I'm always going to moan about something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When do we just think, oh, I'm happy?
Didn't you set it up with the Alexa one?
I did, and it worked. Yes, It was way above my head, but I just followed instructions.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alexa, heat the car up, and you could even say, and I built a Siri shortcut thing that somehow, what's my car custom? What was it? Custom settings that I could say, and it would check my battery percentage.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I knew this would be a geeky episode. I knew it would be.
I love these sort of integrations. I'll tell you this, I never says in the car, because it's running Android Automotive and then it's signed into Google Maps. When I go on Google Maps on my phone, it knows my car. And if I was to, say, navigate somewhere on my phone, it then can tell me what my remaining battery will be. And I can customize like what percentage I'm going to leave with. If I do it far, I can see all the charges, it'll plan it again. And then I can just send it to the car.
Where will we be in 10 years? Will people still be driving?
I'm going to say people are still driving.
Yeah.
I think these things can happen a lot quicker. Like, I'm sure you'll remember that photo of like New York City, 1900 versus 1910, where 1900, all horse and carriages, 1910, all had cars. But I think that there will be people that will have self-driving cars. I think legislation is going to be the thing that slows it down.
Yeah.
But I also think, like, what's really interesting, like, I think Tesla in particular is a company that for the first 10 years built up all of its money and its high valuations off of making cars that people were really passionate about driving. And they've now totally positioned their business model to be AI focused and about not driving the car that you've tried so hard to make fun.
Yeah.
And to me, they're very different audiences. I think that there's an appeal to, sitting back or having it do some of the work for you. Probably an appeal for doing all the work for you. But I never want a car where there isn't a steering wheel.
That wouldn't be appealing to you.
No. Where's the fun out of it? Like,
it's like, how much can you really trust it as well?
I would be glad to trust it. That's not the issue. And I would be happy getting a taxi. But in the same way, like at the end of the day, everyone has the option. If you think about cars are expensive, we could instead of having a car, just have a taxi everywhere we go.
Mm-hmm.
And that just has a human driver. And yeah, you pay a bit more, but it probably, honestly, costs you less to get a taxi everywhere than having your own car.
Do you have to worry about parking?
Yeah, exactly. And do we do it? No, we don't.
Yeah. Do you think at some point in the future, extend the timeline as far as you want, will there be a time where humans are no longer allowed to drive? By law, because I'm sure Elon said it.
I mean, if you're extending it all the way out, anything is possible at that point, looking that far out. But it would probably be because the infrastructure, there'd have to be a major shift in either, say, the infrastructure or the speeds in which people are traveling at, where it then no longer makes sense for a human to be in control.
When will we have flying cars? Not going to happen.
We have enough problems driving on a 2D plane. I don't think people are wanting to do it in the air on a 3D dimension.
I've seen this video on YouTube with these guys who, for about £15,000, bought this little craft, just a one-seater thing. And I'm pretty sure he says you don't even need a pilot's license for it. You just take off on a bit of grass that's long enough, and
hope for the best.
you just land where you want to land.
There's a company in America that has I think it's America. They've got a lot of investment about a flying car, but the prototype that they show, it looks like a car, but it's so clearly just like 50 drones with a light shell of a car on top and nothing else. That even a human sat in it, it wouldn't be able to do anything. This is the loudest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do we want to focus on reducing the noise pollution of cities and everything, or do we want to make it worse?
So you can't have silent flying cars.
Well, in the future, anything's possible, but that would have to be the cut. I do not see people being in control of that.
I think it takes the people that are in charge, years, if not decades, to make tiny changes to
Yes.
law and legislation. So
Yes.
big things like that, not in our lifetime. I don't think so.
It's a funny one. It may be in our lifetime in different regions, because different regions they've either got a lot less kind of debt in terms of legacy legislation that they've got to keep up to date that just slows everything down, or they're just really open to it and open up to the risks. Like,
And then the ones that want to be the pioneers.
yeah,
you
like
know.
America, you can imagine they probably want to be the first to do certain things.
Yeah.
China is also, I think, a key driver. Like, I'm not sure how aware you are of like the car boost that they've got going on right now. It's crazy.
In China,
Yeah.
I see some of these Chinese brands I've never heard of. The cars look amazing.
Yeah.
But it was either my brother, I think it might have been my brother that told me that someone who lives in his street had this Chinese car. Now, I don't know if it was it BYD? It was a Chinese electric car. And either it broke, I'm terrible at remember stories, either it broke down or they crashed it or something.
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't get parts to fix it. They couldn't get, and so it ended up having to be a write-off.
Yeah. And that's what we have insurance for.
But any other car that would be easy enough to fix,
Yeah.
but it would never have been a write-off.
I think with a lot of EVs, though, this is kind of the case with Teslas as well, with the way that they manufacture the kind of shell of the car and the chassis. And with the Model Y, use the battery as the kind of structural integrity of the car. Like, you have a crash, it's a write-off.
Mm-hmm.
That means it's more expensive to insure, but like the reality is if someone comes and hits you, do you really want to keep that same car? Or do you want a new one?
Yeah.
Like, ideally, you have no accidents. You make the road safer, but for that time that happens, you probably just want a new car.
Hi guys, have you been in a car accident that wasn't your fault? If you have, before you phone your insurance company, let me introduce you to Complete Accident Solutions Scotland, or CAS for short, our trusted podcast sponsor.
In an awful crash, don't you stress. Get it sorted fast with CAS. If you're in a crash, call CAS. If you're in a crash, call CAS. If you're in a crash, call CAS. Call us today on 0800.
So if you're ever in a non-fault accident, just remember Complete Accident Solutions Scotland has your back. Visit complete-accident-solutions.co.uk or call 0800 644 0174 for free impartial advice. All right, guys, thank you. Now back to the podcast.
But yeah, the stuff that they've got is crazy. Like, I think it was Xpeng. I've got a car that's charging at like 1,000 kilowatts. And I watched a recording and it's like minutes. You can actually just watch it build up.
Yeah, I was going to say, so from 0 to 80, or would it be right
They've
up to
done like a
100?
20 to 70 or something like that in like minutes. Like, literally, you could sit there a couple of minutes.
Wow. The same time to fill up a
Yeah.
petrol or a diesel.
And it was a big battery too.
And is that a standard thing there in sort of...
Higher charging rates, yes. Like Zeekr, which is under the same parent company for Volvo, they've got like semi-solid state battery cars already on the market. They charge like no tomorrow. I think they're all like 600 or 800 kilowatt charge speeds.
I see there's 300 chargers
Yeah.
in Dalgety Bay.
The Fastned.
Right, yep.
Yeah, but they're like nothing compared to what they have in China. It really is crazy. I've seen a video a couple of days ago where the guy gets out of his car and he tells the car to reverse, and it's speaking to him as he's speaking to it, and he's telling it what to do. Like, they're just in a different league. But the funny thing is the way that they're able to build it to a certain price. And it's starting to leak into our markets. Like I was telling you about that MG, which is just a rebrand. They've literally just, they don't even have the MG badge on this car. That's because if they changed it, they'd have to redo all the crash tests, which would cost a lot of money. So they've not even replaced the badge. This has got the IM brand. They're just having it sold at MG dealerships, this Chinese car. And it's like 48 grand for that 750 brake horsepower, air suspension, S-Class in size.
Yeah, I think the future's quite exciting if you're into your tech, you're into your
Yes.
cars. I know a lot of people who pass the test, it's not really an option for them to go right into an electric car or a new
Sure.
fancy car, but one day
Yeah.
I do.
But also, all of these cars, like, we can be on the forefront. Like, you want to maybe be the first to have something. At the end of the day, you inevitably sell it and it goes down and it goes into that used market. And the deals you have on the used market right now for EVs are crazy.
Yeah, I would 100% recommend someone who's looking to buy their first car,
Yeah.
especially if they're doing maybe, automatic driving license or whatever. Yeah, you can get a second-hand, really good quality.
Like,
Well-
insanely good quality. Yeah.
Well looked after.
So that's the funny thing, right? You could go out and you could totally spend 500 to say £2,500 on a combustion car that's, say, an auto. But at that kind of price range and probably mileage, you have got the risk of something goes wrong. It's expensive. It's easily out of warranty. And you've obviously got the running costs, right? Whereas you could get an EV on a used EV on a PCP or a HP even, because I think HPs are a lot more achievable when you're still on a provisional license. And you could be like £200 a month, which is a lot of money for a car. Like, totally, don't get me wrong. But when you then don't have to worry about something going wrong and having that nest egg, and you also don't have to worry about spending £50 to £100 a month on fuel, you're suddenly paying the same amount of money for a car with like frameless doors, as quiet as a Rolls Royce,
Yeah.
like cool it from the comfort of your own home or heat it from the comfort of your own home. Like, you then think, okay, I've spent the same money. Do I want, like, what one do you want? It's not a competition.
I guess when people pass, they buy whatever it is they buy,
Sure.
and then they learn for that and think, my next car,
Yes.
I want it to have, this feature and that feature, and
Yeah.
and then it probably. I mean, I'm that's what I'm like. There's a lot in the Leaf that I love.
Yeah.
A few things I wish it did have, and I'd make sure that the next car did have, the power.
And then on the next one, I'm sure there'll be something else
Yeah.
you'll have missing. Yeah, totally.
We're never satisfied.
Never satisfied, but there is a real benefit to just loving what you have. Because honestly, you could go out there, you could buy a £500,000 car, and you go give that a nice detail, which you could do yourself. You clean it nice inside and out, and I guarantee you could really grow attached to that thing. Like, it doesn't matter how much the car costs. You give it love, it'll show.
I have very fond memories of my first car 900 years ago. Didn't go up hills.
Fiat 500?
It was a Ford Fiesta. Didn't start when it was cold.
Yeah.
Didn't have power steering. Didn't have electric
Called
windows.
character.
It had a bit of character. Had a cassette deck. That was about it. Had the
Yeah.
windows that you.
Yeah.
But I loved it
Yeah. But
because it was mine. It was my
we
first car.
we were recently at a tyre garage. Amy needed some new tyres. She got a puncture, and there was a original Renault 5
All right.
in mint condition, and you just think they love that thing.
One of the sad facts is, for as much as you can have a £40,000 car that does a lot of cool stuff, it might not make you feel the same as what your £275 first car
Yeah.
that done nothing.
Yep.
But it's about that feeling, isn't it? It's about that, like, oh, I remember. I mean, I get that with movies and games. It's the movies that you used to
Yes.
love as a kid.
Of course, you could experience it at the same time as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's objective and subjective feelings towards these things.
Yeah.
Because it's not what the car is, it's what it unlocks for you. And it's kind of hard to beat that first unlock of freedom.
It's like that. It's like that. The Rotten Tomatoes score of here's what the experts mark it on. And
Yeah,
here's
you're
what
like, I
just-
love this film, and they're like 10%.
Yeah.
What?
We've went on a bit longer than I planned to. I'm sorry to keep you.
No worries at all.
It's been great having you in here. I'm probably going to have to wrap things up now before, because I could talk to you for a long time about this stuff.
Yeah,
It fascinates me. So appreciate you coming in.
glad to finally have done it.
Yeah, and there's hundreds of questions that I wrote down that I don't think I got through, but maybe you can come back for a part 2 one day.
Yeah, I'll be up for that.
Well, that'll do it for the day. Thanks, man. We're out. We've done it.
We're done.